Greetings, family. So, in this very short video, we want to get right to the point and direct about something. And this one is called Maroonage Relationships and the Reality of War. Love, Respect, and War. We are His Royal Majesty Gelo Akban Agbavi I, the Hosu or King of Ganlodo Hotome, the monarchy of Ganlodo, the first Bay-speaking monarchy ever to be established outside of Benin or Togo. That's where the Bay-speaking people are. And literally, Bay means language. GBE, it means language. So, in the scholarship, you will see the term Bay-speaking. We try to stay away from the term Dahomean. We used to use the word Dahomean a lot back in the day, but Dahomey was a later monarchy that dominated many of the other Bay-speaking people that preceded them. So the culture is older than Dahomey. Dahomey is sometimes used as a catchphrase for the whole culture, but in reality, Dahomey came later in the 17th century. So we start with Odu Ifa Otura Irosun. Right, that's one of the 256 Odu. Oturo ti simi Irosun wani isimi ni eneti o fi oluwo fun ni ojo ti ebi re ti ani ariyanjiyan ni inu okan olu iwo ati iyawo re ni adanilajo pe won yo ni ero ni ju. And what that says, that is how we chant Odu Ifa. What that says is Otura was resting. Irosun was resting. Was the one who cast for Olu Iwo. And what that means is that's the name or the nickname or the alias of the Awo, the priest that did the divination. So he was the one who cast Ifa for Olu Iwo. Olu Iwo, he's the owner of Iwo. He's the king of Iwo. On the day that his family had unrest in the soul. Olu Iwo and his wife were reassured that they would have inner peace. They were told a particular ebo or sacrifice to do, and they made the sacrifice. And just to be clear, all the language we used then was in Yoruba. The ancestors demand that we have healthy heterosexual unions. Let's be real and straight to the point. We are at war. Nowhere is it better seen in heterosexual African male and female relationships. There are mechanisms that are put in place meant to doom our unions. By now, you would think we'd have figured out who the real enemy is, or figured at least that part out. Those reading this that do not know this need to find this out. However, those that know who the enemy is must realize the various tools of the enemy. There are spirits that have been put in motion to stifle all things good produced by us. The Maroon/nationalistic movement is slowly moving forward, and we are thankful for that. With that movement comes the dogged energies that wish for our failure and death. And all of these energies are not from non-African people. In our relationships, and trust us from experience, we have to be very aware of these things as they come to us. The negating spirits that we call Elenini, Ebora, and the like feed from discord, dissension, head-butting, katawakata. And for those that are maybe new to this, our language, katawakata is a Kibantu or so-called Swahili word, phrase that means like and so on, or etc., etc. They fester and cause all of our ire means blessings in Yoruba, to sink into a non-retrievable abyss of chaos. We are at a time when there are things created to directly affect our marriages and relationships. These things are created specifically for this. That's what you need to figure out and realize when you sit down and you're bickering over little crazy stuff, little simple stuff. These things are created. That means this is war. Knowing we are at war, we must fight the good fight. At this time, we find ourselves faced with various forms of the situation that Olu Iwo in the Odu Ifa found himself confronted with in the Irosun, Tora Irosun. Olu Iwo made the sacrifice, Ifa tells us, and Ifa says that everything was secured in his family. And now sacrifice, a lot of people think that that's just like, offering food to the deities or the ancestors, and that's it. No, sacrifice is actually, that's an outward manifestation of an inward sacrifice, and it's also part of a way of life. Your way of life has to match the sacrifice and go beyond it, as a matter of fact. We have to be honest about our challenges, whether they come from the enemy without or the enemy within. Yes, we have the outer enemy that we can identify by sight. However, who amongst us is willing to admit of and confront the enemy within itself? Many times the enemy without has no power unless there already is present inner decay. The enemy within, the self-hate amongst African people, the lust for the non-African women and men, In the Odu Ifa, Owanri, Ogunda, we find hints at solutions and spiritual maintenance. This verse states in Yoruba, Perigun, Susu Difa fun Owan ati Egutan, Wan bere let lati rubo, ki o le dara pelu Owan, ati Eguntun, Ayare. And what that says is Perigun is a very sacred herb. So you get a little glimpse into the esoteric of Ifa. Perigun Susu, divine for Owan and Eguntan. They were asked to sacrifice so it would be well with Owan and Guntan, and Eguntan his wife. Eguntan was the wife, and they made the sacrifice. The sacrifice, one of the sacrifices, the main sacrifice, was crushed Oloyinwin leaves in water to mix with soap and wash with the hair. Now, Oloyinwin leaves, they're sweet leaves, sweet herbs, mixed with the soap, and you're supposed to do a chant and all that. So this verse gives us one of the etutu appeasement baths that we can use in our marriages to avert negativity. The herbs mentioned in the verse are herbs for creating a sweet path. Our point is that many of us warriors need to remember that we are not at war with our home, our wives, our husbands, heterosexual relationships, that is, husband with a female and a female with a male. Do not bring the war home. Owan and Egutan were told to do Ebal, sacrifice, because of problems that were festering in the home. They confronted this problem and were okay in the end. Now, that's a simplistic way to talk about it, but pretty sure they had work to do. But these are truncated stories in the Odu Ifa. From time to time, we have to check our progress in our relationships. There are various types of spirits that always abound in the universe. Sometimes they find themselves in our own vicinity and they cause unexpected chaos and trouble. When we see this manifesting, it is time to take it to the shrines. The shrines know all. Ancestor shrines, and if you have deities and whatnot, but you first go to the ancestors. They are our protection. This message is not one of a preacher. This comes from one who has to experience these same things every day. So that reminds us to remind you to use your 4-calorie divination or your obiabata or your whether it be native kola nut or obiabata with the cowrie shells glued onto the coconut. If you do not know how to do this, you need to consult with us to learn more about it. But you can easily get simple yes/no answers from the spirit world by throwing 4 cowries or the obi and whatnot. From time to time, we have to check our progress. Period. Check ourselves. So basically, this message came from from the fact that we're getting messages to take care of our home stronger and stronger these days. So We hope that this is well received, that you all can actually build on this from what we said, and we can have positive discussions about how to use the spiritual technology that we have, that we like to brag on and all that, more for, collective and family sovereignty. There's such thing as family sovereignty. Our families are not free. They do not have sovereignty. They are slaves to the European way of existence, the way of life, the way of courting, the way of marriage. There's no sovereignty there, and this is a sovereignty that you can exercise every day in your home, with your diet and everything. But we're slaves to the European diet. We eat all that pork. They never have to worry about having customers for pork as long as New Africans have the black. As long as New Africans don't act like New Africans and they act like Black Americans, which is a whole different mindset. A Black American mindset is detrimental to any form of progress of a collective and family New African development. So with that being said, we are His Royal Majesty Ahosu Agelo Agbawi the First, and we pray that you enjoyed this video. Odigba.